Hi, this is Leanne Wendt, and I'm here to tell you how I put my Clean Hands presentation together. I'm from Delaware, but currently I'm residing in Perth, Scotland with my husband. So my presentation actually took place at our church in Perth, Scotland. So I was going to discuss the phases of the development of my project, including how I identified my target audience, how I selected a topic, how I defined an objective. Then I prepared content, including introduction and conclusion. And I practiced delivery of my speech to the kitchen wall a couple times. And the most fun I had was gathering supplies for the craft, which was a foaming hand soap dispenser full of good ingredients. And then I also made a light lunch, which I enjoyed. I really love to cook. And then I will discuss the outcome of my project. So, how I identified my target audience. While here in the summertime, it's difficult to get a group of people that are consistently there because summer in Scotland is a big deal. This is when they take their holidays, and primary school is not open, and none of the public schools are. And the more I thought about it, I thought I got to keep this simple and convenient because summer is difficult for anyone, including students and teachers. So I chose the ladies in our church, the Relief Society is what it's called. It's an organization of women to present this presentation on how to properly clean your hands. And I chose it because it was diversified in that the ages were what I thought were good, like between the ages of 20 and 87 years old. They're all Scottish, so it wasn't diversified as far as race, but I just worked with what I had. Like I said, I was looking for a project that wouldn't overwhelm me and but yet gave an effective message. Less was more for me. So I didn't want to get into some big, hairy presentation that would overwhelm my summer, as I actually had quite a few guests this summer, as everyone wants to come to Scotland. So I selected a topic based on the stats for flu and pneumonia in Scotland. There was almost 3,200 people who died of the flu, complications from the flu and pneumonia, and over 75% of that number was older adults. In fact, people older than 75 years old was that number. Their immune systems are not as strong as they once were, and so the flu, pneumonia, even colds, and other bacterial infections that are spread through dirty hands affects them in a sometimes fatal way. Um, um, so proper hand hygiene can actually decrease these numbers, I believe. It seems simple, and as I said in another paper, and too simple, but in reality, it's one of the most effective things that can be done in order to combat these bacterial infections that can be spread and affect the vulnerable populations, such as the youth and the older adults. So the objectives of my presentation would be that the audience would be able to verbalize the understanding of germ transmission, and the audience will verbalize understanding the importance of hand hygiene, and they will demonstrate it and how it's done. And all of my objectives were successful. The presentation went over really well. There was a lot of good things discussed. My audience contributed valuable information that we all learned from. So to prepare the introduction, body, and conclusion of my presentation, I took into account 4 types of learning. And in my presentation, I addressed all of these. There's the 4 types of learning are audio, visual, kinetic, and then reading and writing. And so I addressed all types of learning through videos, the audio with the videos, and that counts for both. And then we made that craft, which was a foaming hand soap. And then I sent them home some reading material. So I felt good about addressing all types of learning and the things that I did to address it. So I did practice this presentation in my sleep, in the mornings when I woke up, to the wall, in the bathroom. And as I presented it, I was able to tweak things to be more understandable and more relevant to the subject of my presentation. The most fun I had was actually shopping for the crafts and food for the lunch. I purchased Castile soap. I had to buy that online, as well as the foaming soap dispensers. Essential oils I had at home, and vitamin E oil I easily purchased at the drugstore. I had my husband make copies of my handout, which is the handout that I presented in week 5, the infographic. Then the best fun was purchasing the food and the supplies for what I made was Duchess cream of Duchess soup, sticky toffee pudding, and Bakewell tart. Like I said, this was a lot of fun for me. I love to cook. I gauged the response of the audience. The ladies loved it. They loved getting together and they loved what they learned. Um, it's something they knew all along, but it was a good refresher. And that story came out of 2 Scottish ladies who actually, back in the 1800s or 1700s, they lived just north of where we live in Perth. And there's 2 graveyards or grave stones for them because they died of the plague. One of the ladies, her boyfriend or her husband, was serving over in a battle, and he actually brought home a necklace or sent home a necklace to one of the ladies, and he must have taken it off of a body that had the plague because the plague was actually on the necklace. And so when the wife wore the necklace, she actually came down with this plague, and both of those ladies died. And now you can go visit their gravesite. And I thought, well, that's kind of tragic. That's really an example of germs spreading, unfortunately. Anyways, I had a lot of fun actually presenting it. It was a little stressful with the summer, but I'm glad that this class is done and I learned a lot about community nursing. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.